This is The Top, where I interview entrepreneurs who are number one or number two in their industry in terms of revenue or customer base. You'll learn how much revenue they're making, what their marketing funnel looks like, and how many customers they have.
I'm now at $20,000 per talk.
5 and 6 million.
He is hell-bent on global domination.
We just broke our 100,000 units sold mark.
And I'm your host, Nathan Latka.
When I do webinar interviews or I give big speeches to thousands of people all over the world, I usually will talk about data and sometimes show my dashboards, like my SaaS dashboard as I'm growing my SaaS company to top inbox, or my website dashboard, which shows how I take impressions to convert them into email leads and convert them into customers for nathanlatka.com. The funny thing is, guys, I build these dashboards with myself, no developer, and it's basically free. And I use one tool to do it. You can see the tool at nathanlatka.com/analytics. I'll tell you more later in the show. This is episode 666, and coming up tomorrow morning, the PayU CEO comes on, Laurent Demol, and I get him to reveal how much revenue they've done. Hint, it's above $150 million. Now, the way they've done that is with a new risk assessment product to grow their financial services arm. He was the ex-PayPal CEO of Europe. You don't want to miss it. Good morning, everybody. My guest this morning is John Epstein. He just moved into a new role as a senior vice president for international at a company called Sentient Technologies at Sentient.ai, the maker of Sentient Ascend, the first conversion rate optimization solution powered by evolutionary artificial intelligence. Epstein has been in many companies at the forefront of technology and media, including GameSpot, which he was the founding CEO of, OMEC, which was sold to Intel, and GameSpy, which was sold to IGN. John, are you ready to take us to the top?
Absolutely. Let's go.
So you're like a nice breed. You're not the CEO currently of Sentient, but you've had a lot of success with your own companies prior to Sentient at GameSpot and GameSpy, correct?
Yeah, GameSpot, OMEC, IGN had a good exit as well.
What's a good exit?
Staying on the forefront. Say that again?
When you say a good exit, what's a good exit mean to you?
It ranged anywhere from in the tens of millions into the hundreds of millions of dollars. So some were better than others, and some of the startups didn't fare so well. That's such is the nature of startups.
Was GameSpy your baby? Were you the founding CEO?
GameSpy, yes. GameSpy was the president. Actually, it was more of a turnaround. GameSpot had been sold to ZDNet and then CNET, and had invested in GameSpy. And when 2001 came and sort of the website market was contracting, I jumped over to help the CEO of GameSpy turn it around and achieved a pretty successful sale to IGN.
And what was I want to kind of dig more into your history. These companies, are these gaming companies like the names would suggest?
Yes and no. So I have worked at an actual gaming company. Most of my life has been, except for the last 8 years, was focused on media and other elements related to gaming. So I started out at IDG as a magazine publisher, originally on the technical side, and then in the multimedia space. That's what brought me into gaming, because games were the applications that really have always stretched our PCs and our phones the most in terms of requirements for new features,
Sure.
which back then was sound and CD-ROM. So GameSpot was the first really professional online reviews site for games. GameSpy had a editorial element and also published content about games, but it also had middleware and a software client that was used for matching up players in server-to-server gameplay. These days, online gaming is par for the course, but back then, it was people were playing Quake and Doom, and it was kind of hard to find players if they weren't on your LAN. And so GameSpy had a really great piece of software that we then ended up licensing into games from folks like Electronic Arts and 2K Games and many other.
And John, so GameSpot was your first kind of venture into entrepreneurship. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's right.
And how old were you when you launched that? What year was that?
So GameSpot was launched in 1995. It wasn't my first startup. I had launched the magazine Digital News, and then I launched the magazine Multimedia World. But that was sort of entrepreneurship for IDG, which is a great company that values and.
So just to be clear, you were working for that company and you launched those magazines under their brand.
That's right. In terms of my own startup, it was 95. I was 31 years old.
Oh, that's okay. Got it. And walk me through, a lot of the feedback I've got from the show, and I like to keep close kind of tabs on what my audience is wanting. They say, Nathan, you can't just talk about billion-dollar companies every day. And I get a lot of those guests on, CEOs of big companies. They like to hear the beginning stories too. What gave you the confidence in 1995 to leave your gig, which it sounds like you had a lot of freedom on? You were launching whole magazine brands. What gave you the confidence to leave and start GameSpot?
Yeah, so I guess it was so first of all, I had great partners. I mean, I think it really starts with that. People are what matter. And there were two guys, Vince Brody, who now runs This Moment, and Pete Deemer, who's one of the top agile consultants in the world, I believe. And these guys worked for me, and they were just a really great team. And
were those founding partners, though, John? Was it three co-founders?
So it was the three of us that started GameSpot, right? Okay. And the original idea came from the two of them. They wanted to call it G-Spot, though, and I said, that's not gonna fly.
I like it. Sign me up.
I'm the one out there selling media to largely female media buyers, so I don't think so. So that was part of it. I think the second one, it was clear. It was clear at the time, hey, this, we had started we'd put PC World online and Multimedia World magazine online. It was clear this internet thing was happening, and that if anything, the gamers were ahead of the curve in terms of their use of online. And then there was this problem. The problem was, if you look at the individual video game or PC game, their shelf life in the store, it's pretty short. But magazines had this really long lead time of 2 months. So by the time a magazine came out, either the review had been written before the game was done, or the game might have even been off the shelf. So there was this information gap. And we realized that online, with the real-time nature of online publishing, would allow us to really serve the gamer community better, and not just give them,
And John, hold on. I don't mean to cut you off. This is all still under GameSpot, or have you transitioned into GameSpot?
This was GameSpot, right?
Okay, well, hold on. Wrap out the GameSpot story first. So 1995, you launched it. You're 31. What happened? Did you sell it? It went under? What?
No, yeah. So we took in some external investment. We ended up selling it in parts to Ziff Davis, to their ZDNet subsidiary.
Okay.
In retrospect, maybe a little early, but it was for some younger guys, and I was the oldest of the three. It was a decent exit.
What'd you sell it to him for, or the assets?
We sold it for stock in ZDNet. So at the peak, it was worth about $45 million as an exit, and by the time we were able to sell the ZDNet stock, we're worth a little bit less than that. So yep. I think we view it as like we all got a pretty nice house out of the deal.
Yep.
And some track record.
Okay. And then you take that capital, you snowball into GameSpy, which helped bridge the information gap between kind of games and all that by moving a lot of this content online.
Not quite. I spent a couple years after having sold it to ZDNet. First of all, we ran it inside of ZDNet for a while, and I stepped into an international role. I really wanted to get experience in doing business in different countries, and ZDNet had joint ventures, it had wholly owned subsidiaries, it had licensees in something like 30 countries around the world. So I ran that for a while, and then as 2001 happened and the internet advertising market dried up, it was clear it was time to maybe go on again. We had invested from ZDNet into GameSpy. I was on the board there, and they made a very concerted effort to recruit me. So I joined Mark Surface.
Oh, interesting.
There, and then did it again. It wasn't my former partners at GameSpot were not super happy with this move, since they essentially was going to a competitor, but such is the nature.
Well, tell us how that works. You're a rational guy. They must incentivize the hell out of you. What'd they give you? What cares do they give you?
GameSpy?
Yeah.
A nice salary and about 8% of the company. So, It was a good package for a CEO. GameSpy was pretty unique in that the founder, Mark Surface, had not taken in external money, and he owned more than half of it. So, and then in 2.5 years, we were able to triple the revenues. And
what year is this, by the way, John? Let's keep the thing going.
So this was 2001, and it was I joined there in September 2001. The company was sold March 2004. to IGN, and the two bidders were IGN and GameSpot. So
that's
so
funny. Okay, so you sell it. It sells in 2004. So your kind of first big kind of financial moment was when you sold GameSpot. You were in your kind of mid 30s. It got you a nice new house. You then took that into a big salary and 8% of GameSpy, which you helped grow. That sold for, you said, 10 to hundreds of millions. You gave a big range, which is fine. But that was, I guess,
that one was around $61 million
cash,
exit, if I recall. And so I made more money on GameSpy than I did on
was that all cash, or was it an earnout, John?
It was all cash.
Got it. Okay. So you then take that money, 2004. Then what?
I stayed at IGN for a while, and then after about 6 months, I made some money there as well because they sold the following year to Fox. I had some shares there. I went and joined a venture-backed startup called Double Fusion. Double Fusion was a competitor to Massive, for those of you that remember the in-game advertising market. So Double Fusion combined technology that could place ads inside of video games, and then a media sales effort to then monetize that inventory.
And then fast forward now to Sentient. So what does Sentient do, and what's the revenue model?
Yeah, so Sentient has been around for 9 years. It's one of the best funded companies in the AI business. Just to give you a little, I'd taken a few years off from operations. I was an executive recruiter. It was a fascinating way to meet, super talented, top-level people, build out my network. And Sentient was one of my clients. The guy with whom I did the original AOL cover mount deal when back in PC World was there. And I fell in love with this company because, to the extent one's goal is to be on the leading edge, there's nothing more leading edge these days than artificial intelligence. So Sentient has built a very powerful AI platform. Its focus is on AI at scale. It's able to run AI problems across millions of CPUs and thousands of GPUs using proprietary distributed computing middleware layer. And the company has
John, hold on.
products.
Dumb that down for me. Like, give me a real life example of all that technology stuff in a real life example.
All right. So we do multiple types of AI. People are usually familiar with deep learning or neural networks. That's what's used for handwriting recognition or voice recognition or image analysis. We do that too. But there's another field which Sentient Ascend is based on, and another one of our products. It's called evolutionary computation. And in evolutionary computation, it's an AI that mimics natural selection. So the way it arrives at and searches for, if you would, the optimal solutions or designs to a problem is through a stage of, a set of evolutions, like essentially breeding different designs together, and then mutations. So we run a hedge fund using this. One of Sentient's products through a subsidiary called Sentient Investment Management is a hedge fund that is, we think, the first fully AI traded hedge fund. The AI doesn't.
What's the fund size, John? I'm curious.
That I can't disclose.
Oh, it's private. Okay.
It's growing rapidly.
What's rapidly? If you don't give a number, but like, is it 10% month over month, or 50, or 100, or what?
So the goal of a hedge fund is not to deliver outsized returns; it's to deliver consistent returns around in the 10% range. No one objects to higher, of course, but the real reason big investors invest in hedge funds is to achieve stable, good returns, and ideally returns that are not correlated with other investments they have. And so one of the unique things about Sentient Investment Management is that our fund is highly uncorrelated with other funds, whether they're traded by machines or by.
You said it's growing fast, though. Do you mean the funds it's managing?
Assets under management, right? So the things that make funds, make money for the fund runners. There's two things. One is the return, and the other is the amount of money that's out there. So
how fast, John? My question is, how fast is the assets under management? How fast are those growing?
Order of magnitude or higher growth in assets under management. That's as much as you'll get out of me here.
Okay.
And that's not my particular. Yes, I need to be a little circumlocutory about that.
That's fine. Well, so tell me, John, because we're running out of time here. Okay, so I want to dial in on this real quick. How does Sentient, the thing you focus on at Sentient, how does it make money? What's the revenue model?
All right, so it's a SaaS product, and it's disrupting the world of A/B testing and website optimization. It uses the same evolutionary approach to allow all companies that are doing business on the web or through mobile web rely on some conversion event, and maybe they're selling something, maybe they're signing up a lead or something like that, selling that lead, or just using it for their own sales. And A/B testing is it's what smart companies have been doing so far to improve the performance of their websites, but it's slow and it's manual. And using this evolutionary AI approach, rather than test one idea at a time or maybe a couple, our clients are testing anywhere between 10 and 50 different changes to their website funnels all at once. And not just the individual changes, the AI is solving what's the best combination of those changes to achieve the goal that you set for it, higher sales, for example, higher conversions. And so our clients are looking, they're testing anywhere between a few hundred and millions of different designs, and within a couple months, achieving 10 to 50 to sometimes 200% gains in their core KPIs.
And John, walk me through. So it's a SaaS business, so my audience is very familiar with that. Help us understand kind of the size of the context here, because everything you're saying sounds great, but kind of understanding more in terms of market share is more helpful. So like, how many customers are paying you guys currently?
We launched in September. We have about 25 paying customers, about the same number in trial.
Okay.
Right.
So are these enterprise? I mean, give me a sense like the average contract size on these bad boys.
So they range anywhere from $3,000 a month to $30,000 a month. And so, the average is sort of probably in the 8 to 10. That's, the enterprises take longer. The big guys take, 5 or 6 months to get through their sales cycle, and the smaller guys, can say yes right then.
Yep.
So
any churn yet? Has anyone started paying and then stopped?
No one has churned yet.
That's great.
Yeah.
What about in terms of customer acquisition cost? Is this just you and a team of inside salespeople going out? Or are you doing any paid media stuff? What's it costing you to acquire one of these 25 customers?
So we're still working on that. The most effective vehicle has actually been conversion-specific trade shows. We also have built a partner channel. There's a lot of agencies and consultancies that specialize in conversion optimization that have the ideas, the strategies that are the raw fuel that powers our AI. And so they've also been a very effective and free, if you would, source of leads and referrals. A lot of our trials are coming in from that channel. We do some paid advertising, mainly in the search advertising. But if there's a good conversion conference, we go to it. We have 3 in the next 30 days.
What do you spend on average to sponsor those? Like 10, 20 grand or what?
Yeah, right now it's more in the 5 to 10 range, I would say, in terms of the booth and the sponsorship. It depends. Sometimes we spend more. And our investment is going up over time. A lot depends on the size of usually these aren't huge trade shows. I think to go to, we went to E-Tail West. That was for both Ascend and our other products, Sending Aware. That's a more, that's in the sort of 20 to 30 range. But as we continue to grow, we're expanding our footprint at these shows. So next year, I'm sure we'll spend more per show.
And what, you guys have raised capital, how much total?
So far, to date, it's been $143 million.
And that's across kind of all the product lines, correct?
That's right.
Yeah.
And the building of the platform itself.
Got it. And what's your current team? What's the total team size, actually, total employees?
So Sentient has about 110 employees.
Okay.
And I think we've got about 15 or 20 positions open right now. About a quarter of those are focused on Ascend, a quarter on Aware, a quarter on the maybe a fifth on the hedge fund business, and then the remainder are focused on our core platform and then just general G&A.
Got it. Makes good sense. And you said you're founder. You said you joined them about 7 years ago, so 2010 was founding year?
No. So I'm not a founder of Sentient. I was their headhunter, and then I joined as CMO, and then now in this international role. So the company was founded in 2007, and the founders were Anton Blondeau, who's our co-chairman, Babak Hojat, who is our CEO, and then the third founder was Adam Chayer, who went on to be the head of Siri.
And your guys' Series C, it looks like you closed for about $100 million on November 24th, 2014. So that was almost 3 years ago at this point. So you're either in the middle of raising more capital, or you're about to be bought for like $1 billion. Which one is it?
Well, one of those.
Come on, John. Which one is it? Give it to me.
You know what? We think it's too early to sell. So
come on.
No, hey, AI, what you're seeing today, we haven't seen anything yet. The world will not be recognizable from a technology standpoint 10 years from now, and some would even say 5. Things are changing so quickly. And I think, I forget who it was that said this recently. It was Mark Cuban.
Trillionaire.
The words first trillionaires will come out of AI.
That's right.
I'm not the founder of Sentient, so that won't be me, but maybe some of the...
You have some equity, though, right? I mean, I imagine you do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Not sure it gets me in the trillion range, though.
When I was recently in New York meeting dozens and dozens of you that listen to the show, I showed many of you guys my SaaS analytics dashboard. I also showed you my website kind of conversion dashboard from impression to free trial to paying customer, along with many other dashboards I use in my business, like my social media command center and a few others. Now, all of these are built with one tool. I just dragged and dropped them together. You can see how I did that at nathanlatka.com/analytics. That's nathanlatka.com/analytics. Now, these dashboards, guys, are critical to my business. You know, I refresh them on my mobile phone right when I wake up in the morning. I roll over and boom, refresh. Or I'll refresh them right before I have to take off on a flight because I'm just addicted to data and numbers. They drive my business. So I think they probably drive your business too. You can see my dashboards, how I use them at nathanlatka.com/analytics. Now, if you go through the regular website, that's the tool is called Portfolio, you only get 14 days free. You go through my link, you get 90 days free. So I got a great deal for you guys. It does expire, so you got to go there now. There you go, John. All right, let's wrap up, my man, with the famous 5. Number 1, what's your favorite business book?
So my favorite business book is Hire with Your Head. It's a guide to better recruiting of top talent, which is the key to any business.
Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
I find Elon Musk to be the most fascinating CEO, followed by Jeff Bezos as a close second.
Number 3, besides your own, is there a favorite online tool you have, like HostGator?
We use Salesforce a lot. I can't say it's my favorite. I think, honestly, Built With and SimilarWeb are tools that we use a lot to better understand our clients.
Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
Usually about 5 to 6.
Okay, and what's your situation? Married, single, you have kids?
Second marriage, 2 kids, 18 and 21, one junior in college, and the other one getting word from colleges right now.
That's great. And how old are you, John?
I'm 53.
All right, last question. Take us home here. Take us back 33 years. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
I wish I had stepped into entrepreneurship early. I think, look, I was a bit of a tyro in those days, arrogant, smart, harder to work with. I think, what I've learned over the years is it's not always what you say, that it's how you say it that can really make the difference in how effective you are. And I've been working very hard at that over the last 10 years.
Well, guys, there you have it from John. He's had a ton of success, now sitting on his latest bet, but it all began back in 1995 when he was 31. Started GameSpot, then sold a portion of that for a lot of stock to Ziff Davis and ZDNet, where at its peak that was worth about $45 million altogether. Once they were able to sell their stock, it got him a nice new house. He then had another nice financial event because he drove a lot of growth at a company called GameSpy, where they gave him a great salary and 8% of the company. That sold for $61 million in 2004. He then stayed around there a little bit, but then jumped into the Sentient crowd after doing some work and meeting the founders. They're now serving using artificial intelligence in many different markets, but he's specifically focused on rapid A/B testing using artificial intelligence, currently serving 25 customers with the average contract value of 10 grand per month. Nobody's churned yet, and they're spending money between conferences and some paid ads, but don't have a good idea of CAC yet. $143 million raised, team of 110 people. John, thank you for taking us to the top.
Good, thank you.
If you enjoyed Jonathan today, go back and listen to yesterday's episode, and you tell me what you feel about the CEO. Was he blessed or gutsy when he turned down a $400,000 salary to launch his own business? It would mean the world to me if you guys got any value from this episode, if you would go leave a review on iTunes right now and then subscribe. I hustle like heck to get these episodes out every freaking day for you guys. And trust me, I love it. I would do it with no listeners. But boy, oh boy, it makes my day and it makes my team's day when we see great reviews and get your feedback. So thanks so much. Okay, Top Tribe, I love giving away free money. I feel like Oprah giving away cars, and I have something special for you today. How many of you have heard our super sharp guests talk about success they've had with Facebook and Google ads? Well, all of you listening right now, yes, if you're listening, you get $100 in free AdWords. Here's how you get it, okay? Again, thanks for listening. Get the free $100 from Google, right, when you sign up with my website host provider, HostGator. Go sign up now to get your free money. HostGator.com/Nathan. Again, that's HostGator.com/Nathan.